Hi there, this is Bill with Smart Trades, and today is Thursday, October 21st. It's about 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, and right off the bat, let's take a look at the Dow. And this chart is a bit dated. Uh, I had done this a little earlier, and rather than redo all of these, I'm going to go with it. So I do apologize for that, but I just wanted to make sure that this last decline held before putting my opinion out there, which basically is that we're going to make a new high, perhaps a moderate new high, and hopefully diverge on that, and that perhaps will take us to the target, the 11,258 target on the Dow. At any rate, let's see how it goes, as always. So here are the divergences that we've had over the past several days or even weeks. They keep mounting up, and my experience with these is that ultimately they do play out. You have to be careful because divergences of any kind, whether it's a stochastic, an RSI, an MACD, or the advanced decline line, sometimes they persist, and the market continues to make new highs. So let's beware of that, and indeed they can get completely blown out, and that could happen here. So let's beware. But at this point, we are knocking at the door of the target of the April highs. Again, 11,258. And the ideal scenario, perhaps, is some sideways to lower action. We actually got some lower price movement from the point of this chart, and we've come back a bit, but have not made new highs yet. And here's a close-up view of that. You can see that actually the divergence off today's highs, this is a 15-minute Dow chart, was rather sharp, and we did get a decent sell-off, but the market has regained its footing, at least so far, and to me it looks like it's got a better than a 50-50 chance of making new highs. That said, I do believe we're in a topping process. Here's that longer-term chart that I've posted so many times. And again, the possibility that we're going to go up there and test that April peak. Ideally, then a confirmation would come when we break through this trend line with some definitive price action to the downside. Here is a 15-minute Dow chart. This is more or less up to date. And again, here's that divergence. And I would emphasize the ABC pattern off of the highs. Again, I like these, the B point in these charts as an indication of the probabilities of whether or not we're going to make new highs. We haven't broken through there yet. That comes in around 11,165 or so. So if we were to rally through there, I think that would improve the odds that we're going to make new highs. That said, we on the highs today are only 0.3% off of that ideal target of, again, 11,258. So not a whole lot more to go, if indeed I'm correct, and if that area holds up, or holds the market down, so to speak. Again, here's a chart of another ABC. This is the Euro FX and the continuous futures chart. And I had mentioned a B-wave breakout would likely lead to, or improve the odds, I should say, that we're going to make new highs in the euro, new lows in the dollar. And from there, here's a smaller scale ABC. And let me examine that even more closely. Note this point B and point C area. Here they are on like a 2-minute chart. And this rally off of the point C area, to me, is relatively impulsive in that it's a strong rally and it's relatively vertical. And then the ensuing decline is corrective. And again, I've labeled this with the smaller ABC. And here's the B-wave breakout point. What's interesting is that even on smaller and smaller scales, we have basically fractal patterns of very similar nature, in that the angles of descent are very similar to the larger patterns, and indeed the pattern itself, ABC, is pretty clear and very, very similar to the larger patterns, both on this 2-minute here and on the 60-minute. And the idea with this, not only to admire the fractal nature of the markets, but these offer a chance to buy that B-wave breakout. And in this case, you could risk, perhaps 15 points, putting a stop below the pattern and buying just above the B-wave on the pattern, And if you're risking 15 or 20 points to make 70 or 80 or more, generally speaking, to my way of thinking, that's a good trade, and particularly since you could raise your stop to break even relatively quickly on trades of this nature. And if indeed we're going to make new highs, perhaps here's an explanation and a pattern that could develop. I had counted this whole rally here as one. Let's revise that and call it a 1-2-1-2. If that's the case, we need one more new high to complete this pattern. As I emphasized in the last report, this whole rally here over the middle of September into the early part of October is very, difficult to count. There's a whole variety of ways to do that, so this is far from a certainty. That said, the ABC nature, the corrective nature of this decline probably, and again I emphasize the word probably, is we're going to see new highs in the euro. So it's all about probabilities here. If we were to break down below these lows, if we were to put in corrective rallies that faltered after an impulsive decline, I would revise my opinion. But at this point, the odds favor at least a moderate new high, in my opinion, in the euro, a moderate new low in the dollar index. And here's the Dow futures weekly, and this is to emphasize the idea that these numbers are not exact, and no one should expect them to be in terms of our targets and so on and so forth. The Dow futures have actually already taken out the April highs, and again, these are the futures based on the Dow cash, obviously. So there are issues with the way markets are calculated and so on and so forth. So let's look for that target, again, 11,258, give or take 20, 30, 40 points or so. But understand that the markets are not absolutely perfect in respect to their calculations and so on and so forth. So what we're looking for is a generalized pattern of a market that's peaking in this area of the April peaks. And here, this is a chart I did earlier. This is somewhat dated, but the nature of this decline at that time seemed to be very corrective to me. Volume was dropping at the time of this report. That's another indication that we were going to make new highs, and we'll see if that pans out. And finally, here's the Qs. Obviously, they've also taken out the April peak, and so it's something to keep our eye on here. We want to see when we do get a reversal, we want to see the Qs break down below that April peak as a confirmation that indeed a top is in. Anyway, that's it for now. Just a quick report. Hope you're having a great day, and thank you so much for watching.